David Savage, aka Diz, and this is The Force Always.
Okay, so welcome to the show. This is the Star Wars show. Seems to be the only Star Wars show in existence now, besides, many little podcasts like myself. But anyway, let's get on with the Star Wars news. So the big announcements pretty much in the last week. The official The Star Wars show has reduced their hours to once a month. Be assured, we are here, The Force Always, going to be once a week. It may seem like a bit unusual to talk about Star Wars once a week. What could you possibly talk about? But let's see what we can do. But anyway, they're going to once a month. They will be having a little Star Wars weekly thing, the week in Star Wars. Not that I want to promote their program over mine, but, they're a family-friendly type of YouTube program. But anyway, just to let you know. And according to the other big Star Wars shows, until something happens, then they'll do something. I suppose getting on the bandwagon when the time happens is the name of their game. But, each to their own. That's how it goes. To more news, here in Melbourne, Australia, the times and pretty much days and even theatres have reduced the Rise of Skywalker massively now. But I'll tell you something interesting, adding to the news. Apparently there's no news, but looking at the sessions, the gold class, which is our first class type of cinema in one particular theatre, is still selling fast. Like the actual first class sessions for the Rise of Skywalker is still selling. Like they're still making money. They've actually, in some theatres, got it 2 or 3 times a day. So there is many sessions to be seen. You just got to find it. You really got to find it. The small independent theatres are pretty much to zero, but the main chains here, like Village and Hoyts, sort of up in their sort of premium sessions, like Gold Class or whatever the other one's called. I can't remember their name. Is selling fast at particular times. So if you really want to see it in a nice luxury cinema, sort of get yourself tickets now. And it is in the next couple of weeks, I'm sure it's going to be to zero. So check that one out. To more news, here's another thing in Melbourne, Australia, where I'm from, which is very unusual. There is actually a big sign that I showed you about over a month ago, just before the release of the movie, in our St Kilda Junction, which St Kilda is a part of Melbourne, and it's a very big sort of junction, sort of big, sort of the Times Square of Melbourne, but it's not really many people that go there. It's more traffic. But there's a massive sign. It's still there. They're still advertising Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. It's still there. Check it before it gets torn down. It's a massive poster, The Rise of Skywalker, if you're interested. It's St Kilda Junction, Melbourne, Australia. Anyway, so that's the news for this time around. Just to let you also know, with this news, with me, it's still going to be a weekly channel, The Force Always. So, subscribe if you want. But anyway, let's get into the views. Okay, so views is not about how many views one gets on a YouTube channel. It's not my predictions. It's just story ideas. And as we've got the Clone Wars coming to Disney Plus I'd say in about 2 or 3 weeks' time, it's going to be centered on that. There's 2 main characters I think we're going to be looking out for. It's Maul, or technically to some, Darth Maul, and also Ahsoka. They had departed, like Ahsoka had sort of, walked off from the Jedi. Ahsoka is a Jedi female character. Not the best looking character, but I thought the arc got so much better during the arc of her story, so much better as time went on, and the ending point was a very moving moment for Star Wars hardcore fans. But I would like to see what they do with Ahsoka. Now, technically, if you saw The Rise of Skywalker, this is a bit of a spoiler, so tune out now. Towards the end of The Rise of Skywalker, we hear a lot of Jedi voices, and one of them was Ahsoka. So technically, The Rise of Skywalker happens way after the Clone Wars animated series in a timeline for Star Wars. So obviously, she comes back to be a Jedi. So in this 7th season, we may see Ahsoka become a Jedi again, which to me will diminish the whole walking away from the Jedi thing a little. But I think I'm more interested in her story arc than Maul. Maul is pretty much old news. I personally would have Ahsoka to be the thread in season 7, the final season for the Clone Wars, which is coming in February 21. The main story arc following her journey in season 7, the final season for Clone Wars. That's my story idea. It's not a intricate story idea, like I've not told you specific points, but saying that she should be the main character, that we follow the thread from start to the end, is what should happen in season 7, the final season, Clone Wars, coming to Disney Plus February 21. That's my views for this time around. Let's get into reviews. Reviews this time is all about the whole YouTube community without mentioning names. I think it's a real disheartening idea that particular Star Wars shows have either reduced their amount of Star Wars show episodes or to the point of 0 until something happens. I think it's a real disheartening thing. I think there's always something to talk about Star Wars, even though it may not be the most breaking headlines. But I think it's a disheartening thing. It sort of shows where Star Wars is at the moment. I think it's sort of, at an all-time low in its sort of, desire, passion. For myself, I love it. But you can still feel that the passion has gone down. But I think personally, to me, it's like if you're going to rank this whole idea, it's like a 1 out of 10. My review is a 1 out of 10 for these shows reducing or to the point of 0. It's just, it's, to me, it says get on the bandwagon or get off the bandwagon. To me, there's, if you love Star Wars that much, you can talk about it. Look, I'll tell you this, as being a 48-year-old person as I am, I've seen the whole Star Wars thing come out from very young. I was 4 when A New Hope, technically Star Wars, came out. Now, after 83, which was Return of the Jedi, from that point, we thought that was it. There was just no thought. But then 99, 96, 97 come around with these special editions and rejuvenated Star Wars for the first real time, because then we had awareness that they were going to do episodes 1, 2 and 3, and at that time 7, 8, 9, but they committed to 1, 2 and 3. So we rejuvenated after episode 3, which was in 2004. That was it. There's no more. Lucas was done. It was only when I've said this before, but it's only when I saw Phantom Menace as a 3D version in the cinemas. I think it was 2000, maybe 12 or 13, 2012 or 13, that the acquisition by Disney with Star Wars had been made, and just before that, I had an inkling. Just when I was watching the Phantom Menace, the 3D version, I thought, I don't think Star Wars is finished, which is great. It rejuvenated it again. So then, obviously, Disney did 7, 8, 9 with the spin-off films and TV series and stuff like that. But I find there's always something to talk about Star Wars, even in a blank period, a hype period, and just a regular period. It's just, there's always something you can talk about. The universe is so big, with its religious Star Wars aspect, with its, look, the canvas, the sounds, the actors, the behind the scenes, the philosophy, everything. But myself to the other YouTube channels, I just think it's a bit of a poor effort. One, and the only point that you get for is the fact that you will do something when something comes out, But I think it's a real, it's a bit of a letdown. But anyway, this show will keep going. That's the reviews for this time around. Let's get into interviews. Okay, interviews is this week 2Q. That's 2 questions where I ask myself for you guys out there. First question. Now, Galaxy's Edge, which is a big fun park that's on the East Coast and West Coast in America, is it worthy of going now? Is it worthy? And I'll tell you this, the answer to that right now, if you're a hardcore Star Wars fan, yes. I just had a friend go over there, get in quite easily to the fun park, and if this is the time, there's, act upon the momentum being low and get in there and check it out. Possibly, if it does close down, if it does close down, the whole momentum for Disney could not pay off for them in the end, but you will have free reign in Galaxy's Edge right now. I would be just the most enjoyable time just to get in that fun park without all the craziness of lines, because hardcore Star Wars fans, we rock lines. I've shown you before when I visited the States with particular episodes 7 and 8, and even at celebrations, but yes, it's worthy to go to Galaxy's Edge, East Coast, West Coast of America. It will be a great adventure. The person that I know that went over this recently is not a Star Wars fan, but enjoyed the experience. So, anyway, that's the first question. The second question, what is the future of Star Wars right now? So right now, all we have to work with is the Clone Wars coming out February 21, which will keep a certain hardcore Star Wars fan alive, the spirit. We also have dates announced of 2022, 2024, 2026 of a Star Wars theatrical release. What they are, we don't know yet. What they could be, it's anyone's guess, really. With this ups and downs of people coming in and out of Star Wars, I don't know. So that's what we have right now. Personally, to answer that question, with those particular years and those dates of 2022, 2024, 26, what I would be doing is something completely original with the same, again, thread of good versus bad, like Star Wars is, but something original with characters, something original with landscapes. Really intensely original. But if there's anything that in its look that I would do, is I would give it like this very simple but slow build up progression. I think those dates should be a trilogy. They shouldn't be standalone films. They should be a trilogy. They should be definitely this time around having an idea of arcs of stories, which will give the whole looking forward to the next episode or the final episode with anticipation. I don't think it should be a special effects extravaganza. I think it should be just have a real authentic Star Wars feel, but completely original in its characters and its landscapes, or planetscapes, if that's a word. But that's what I do. The future of Star Wars so far, at the moment, that's it. The Kenobi series was announced, and it's sort of, from rumours, as far as I know, has been put on hold. For what reason? If it's true, I don't know. But really, Clone Wars at the moment is cement. The 2022, 2024, 2026 dates is cement, but that could change with no official announcement of what it is we're looking for. But anyway, that's the future of Star Wars. Anyway, that's the Star Wars news, views, reviews, and interviews, weekly basis on this channel, The Force Always, only on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Send me a message if you like through my Twitter, through my Instagram, or even YouTube itself, and I'll answer your question or whatever question that you have. Anyway, until next time, keep rocking.